Okay, so what we're learning right now um, for the next couple of weeks is how to divide. And we're talking about in fourth grade, students need to be able to divide a 4-digit dividend by a 1-digit divisor. So we're going to divide a 4-digit number by a 1-digit number. And these numbers could have remainders as well. And so what I'm going to show you, we don't learn long division. We're trying to build up to that. And the students won't see that until 6th grade. So um, there's three strategies that the students are learning this week. One is an area model, which they learn that for multiplication. The other is going to be subtract using partial products. So they're actually going to multiply to divide. And then the last way is to use partial quotients to divide. So that would be the closest thing that they're going to see to doing long division. So one of the problems that we have been seeing so far is this here. So if I had 2,125 divided by 4. If I was going to use an area model to do that, it might look something like this. Okay, so for multiplication, we would already know our two factors, and so I don't know this part. I would already know my two factors. An area model is going to look like this. So outside of this box, I know this 4 is my divisor. Okay, and multiplication, that would be a factor. And then my dividend is 2,125. And in multiplication, that's going to be my product. What I don't know is this other factor, and since it's division, it's actually a quotient. So basically, to relate this to multiplication, the students are doing 4 times something they don't know equals 2,125. The way they do this is they can break down this problem. And so I'm going to do 4 times something that would make sense with my problem. So if I look at 2,125, if I just look at the beginning of it, 21. I know 4 times 5 equals 20. So what I'm going to do is in this area model, I'm going to do 4 times 5. Okay, and so I know 4 times 5, that's going to be 20. But what I want is for it to match the number in the thousands. So in order to do that, I need to put 2 zeros on the end. And so that's going to actually make this be 4 times 500. And what I started with was 2,125. And I split up 2,000 of them into groups. And when I subtract that, I get what's left, and that's 125. Since 125 is smaller than it's greater than my divisor, I can keep going. And I'm going to look at these numbers again. I'm going to look at 12 because I know 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to put a 3 up here. And I need to multiply to get a number in the hundreds. And so it's not actually going to be 3. I need to try to get 120, so it's actually going to be 30. And so I started with 125, and I'm going to take away, I split up 120 into groups, and when I subtract that, I'm going to get 5. And now what I know is, okay, I know 4 times 1 is 5. And so I'm going to have one more area model, and this one's going to be a little smaller. They should reflect, inside each of these rectangles, there should be squares that fill up these. And so since I'm dealing with smaller numbers, 30 actually should be smaller than 500, but when you're trying to write in it, it's kind of hard. So up here, I know this is going to be 1, and I know 4 times 1 equals 4. And I started with 5. I took away 4. So I put it in one more group. And I get 1. And what that means, since this number right here, that's smaller than my divisor, so that means I can't put that 1 in any other groups. That 1 is my remainder. So that's what's left over. To get my quotient, quotients are answers to a division problem, I'm going to add 500 plus 30 plus 1. So I'm going to get 531 with a remainder of 1. So 2,125 divided by 4 is 531 with a remainder of 1. And so that's not long division, but hopefully what you can notice is that there are some steps that are, actually all the steps that are in here are very, very similar to long division. So when the kids get into 6th grade, hopefully what that does for them is they already know why we're multiplying, why we're subtracting, and in the long division problem. The other way that I think, the area model can look kind of confusing at the beginning, and so another way that we can do this is we can do partial products. And so, I might start with doing the problem just like how I started in the beginning of this problem. So what I would do, I know I start with 2,125, and so I might want to do in this problem, I might want to do just like I started the other problem. I know that 4, sorry, let me erase that. I know that 4 times 500, that's going to make 2,000. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to subtract, and that's going to leave me with 125. And so now maybe what I want to do, instead of following the problem that I did in the area model, maybe I don't know 4 times 3. It doesn't stick out to me very much. So maybe I know, 4 times 2 is 80. And so I might want to do that. So 4, or not 4 times 2, 4 times 20. Maybe I know that. 4 times 20 equals 80. And so I can subtract that. And so then what I would do is 5 minus 0 is 5. And then I'm going to do 2 minus 8, which I can't do. So I'm going to do 12 minus 8 is actually 4. So I still have 45 to go. And so I know that 4 times 1 is 4. So 4 times 10 is going to be 40. Okay, and if I subtract that, then I'm going to be left with 5. And then I can finish up with the same problem before. Oops. Still not working here. So I'll move this down a little bit. So here I'm going to do 4 times 1 equals 4. I get 1. So that tells me my divisor, I can't make another group. It's smaller than my divisor. 1 is the remainder. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add 500 plus 20 plus 10 plus 1. And when I get that, I am going to get the same answer that I did before. And that's 531 with a remainder of 1. Okay, so it's all the same thing. I'm going to show you one more way that we can do this. This is partial quotients. This looks very, 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 very much like long division. So as the kids get better, this might be the last place that I go to teach them, but this might be the way as a parent you might recognize this a little bit closer to how you learned how to divide. So maybe so you're going to see it like this, written like this, just like long division. So I'm going to take 2,000, my dividend 2,125. I'm going to put this division sign above it, and my divisor is 4. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to I'm going to look at, just like I did before, I see 21 right here. So I know 4 times 5 is 20, but I'm really trying to make 2,000. And so I know that in order to get this, 4 times 500 is 2,000. Then I'm going to subtract. So just like long division, I subtract here, and I get 125. And so now I'm going to use 125 as my dividend. I'm going to look at, okay, I see 12 right here. So 4 times 3 is 12. So up here I can put a 3, but I know it's going to be, in order to get 120, I'm going to have to make it 4 times 30. And so I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. 2 minus 2 is 0. And 0, so I have 5 left. 5 is bigger than my divisor. I can keep going. So 5 divided by 4 is 1. And so what I'm going to do is 4 times 1 is 4. And I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Now 1 is smaller than my divisor, so I know I can't go anymore. I can't split that 1 up. That's going to be my remainder. And so once again, I'm going to add these partial quotients up. And so I'm going to get 531, remainder 1. So hopefully, division is the algorithm, and so, or long division is the algorithm for division. So that's what they're going to be learning in 6th grade. This is one of the first times that these kids are seeing division problems like this. And so we're building up to long division. So hopefully you can see the parts of long division in these 3 ways that the kids are learning how to do this. So once again, to recap, the first thing we did was, this is an area model. This is how we solve it using an area model up here. When we came down here, what we did was we just subtracted using partial products. So we multiplied to divide. And then the last way we did this over here was to use partial quotients, and it's very much like long division. And so, you know, if they get to this point, they're well on their track to being able to learn that algorithm. So hopefully this helps with homework. I know the video was a little bit long, but I wanted to show you all three strategies.